just like looking back on what happened over that day.
Yeah.
And to know like what I went through and what all of us on the race course went through.
Yeah.
The people who finished behind me, ahead of me, behind me, all of us, like we were all in it together.
Yeah.
You know, we all did this, tackled the same elements, and like to get through that and to like come out on the other side.
Yeah.
It's pretty special.
Yeah.
It's pretty epic. And just I don't know. To me, that makes me feel alive.
Yeah.
And to like reflect on all of it, every step. You know, to me, that's powerful.
Welcome to the Trail Success Podcast.
Okay, well, welcome to the Trail Success Podcast. Super awesome to be here with you, JP Lavoie, as our guest today. Trail runner, ultra athlete, and soon to be Western States Endurance Race 100 finisher. I'm going to say that right now.
Hell yeah.
Finisher. But super excited to have you on the Trail Success Podcast today, so thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
As an intro for listeners, you know, the vision and idea of the Trail Success Podcast is to highlight the experiences and efforts of everyday athletes, non-professionals, who are balancing work, family life, and we know our professional athletes balance a lot of those things as well, but navigating all that and still performing at a really high level in trail running and ultra marathons, and kind of the selfish secret of the Trail Success Podcast is I'm just looking to get your inside scoop on the best way to do that as I try and do the same. Quick introduction of myself, just for any credibility in the conversation at all, is Mark Freese, ultra marathon trail running athlete, myself, and I should run a count sometime, maybe 12, 15 ultras,
Nice.
50Ks, 50 milers, 100 miles twice.
At least twice.
Both times JP was in the same race.
Yep.
UTMB TDS finisher a few years back.
Congrats on that.
And 210 out of 240 in the Moab 240 before a medical evacuation, which we talked about. But so a little bit of experience under my belt in the ultra space, but always excited to chat with other ultra marathoners, trail runners.
Absolutely.
And so excited for our conversation today. And so maybe really to kick it off, JP, would love to hear a little bit about your background, where you grew up, maybe any early life experiences, early athletic experiences that kind of maybe set a foundation for who you are and what you do today.
Yeah, so thank you.
Yeah.
And I grew up in Scappoose for the most part.
Okay.
6th grade, moved out here. Actually had asthma really bad when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like real bad, hospitalized a lot, could barely walk a block without having problems.
Wow.
They, at one point in time, they wanted to take out a lung.
Whoa.
But prednisone basically saved my lung, saved my ultra running career.
Yeah.
Way before I ever knew anything about, that. So, so I had a pretty rough young childhood.
Yeah.
Moving ahead, I played football and basketball in high school. Ball sports.
Yeah.
But did not like running at all. Did not want to do it. Did not look forward to it. Didn't run.
Yeah.
And never thought I would. Until one day, Erin, my wife, signed us up for a family fun run, 5K.
Awesome.
Here in Scappoose.
Awesome.
2015. So it was June 2015.
Yeah.
And so I did a little bit of training for it, but not, nothing at all, really.
Yeah.
So we ran it, and I stayed with the family for the first 2/3, and then she's like, if you want to go, just go. And so I'm like, okay, I can do this. And I finished. It was, it was like 32 minutes or something like that. But I was pretty proud of myself. I'm like, I just ran 3 miles.
Yeah.
I had no idea I could do that. And so I was pretty pumped.
Yeah.
And she was a runner, half marathon road runner.
Awesome.
And so she was training for something. I don't remember what she was training for, but she had a 7-miler on deck. And so she said, come run with me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't run 7 miles. She's like, we're running from home. Just walk. You know where we live. So,
Right.
so I ran the 7 miles. I ran the whole thing. And I'm just like, my mind's blown. I'm like, I had no idea I could do this. So
Interesting.
I signed up for a half marathon. Right? What else would you do?
Totally.
And so that was in June, and we signed up for the Oktoberfest Mount Angel half marathon
Yeah.
in September. So I trained. She wrote me a little training plan, and trained and ran it. And I distinctly remember getting to mile 8 and saying, I have 5 more miles. What the hell did I sign up for?
Yeah, totally.
But the last half mile, like, I ran it, and I was so excited, so pumped.
Yeah.
Finished. My body was like, what are you doing? Like, I just felt horrible right afterwards.
Yeah.
Got some food, started to feel better.
Yeah.
And so half marathon turned into 1, 2, 3. I think I ran about 4 or 5, and then I'm like, I'm going to do a marathon.
Yeah.
So signed up for the Newport Marathon.
Awesome.
And that was 2016.
Okay.
So June 2016. Ran it. Really wanted to get under 4 hours. I was like, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And it was a pretty hot day for Newport.
Yeah.
And I faded fast. Very, very humbling experience. I think it was like 4:18.
Yep.
But, I was close.
Yeah.
And so I was motivated. So I'm like, I can do this for 4 hours. So signed up for Portland. And 3 months later, ran Portland under 4 hours.
Nice.
It was very wet that year. It
Okay.
was very cold, but I did it. It was like 3:49, I think. So,
Yeah.
nothing earth shattering, but for me, it was pretty cool. And so yeah, that was kind of my intro into running.
That's amazing.
Fast track.
Yeah, for
mean,
sure. Because you
just-
were that first 5K, not to necessarily give away your age unless you're willing. Were you in your 30s, your 40s?
30s. Yeah, I'm 44 now.
Okay.
So
in
that
your
was,
30s.
I don't know, 30,
8 years ago. 36, 35, 36.
Yeah, somewhere under there. Yeah.
First time you'd ran more than like the mile required for a PE class.
Yeah. I was always one of the last kids too out there. Just like, I remember like 4 times around the track. Oh my God. It was just ridiculous. Why would they make us do that?
Yeah.
It was torture.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of
And that was the mental picture you had of running.
Yes.
Probably even up to the 5K. You're like,
yeah.
I'll do this for my wife because she asked me to, but like not excited.
Yep. There was a couple times that we went running before the 5K, and I'd just go run with her
Yeah.
like a mile or something. And I would wear my basketball shoes.
Yep.
And I'd heel strike and I'd just take off. And she's like, where are you going?
Yeah.
And slow down.
You're out of breath.
I'm out of breath. Like, I just, everything all at once, and then I'm done.
Yeah.
And so, she's like, run on your toes.
Yeah.
And so, like, I had to, like, do that transition, and calves just killing me. But yeah, it was a slow process, but then it wasn't so slow after that. So.
What do you think it is? Because I love the way that you've shared that story that when you went on that 7-mile run, because I'll have people say, how do you run more than 3 miles? How do you run more than 10 miles? How do you run more than 50 miles, right? Mm-hmm. What do you think the difference is there? What are the couple of secrets you learned, or what would you share with someone else about how you go from 3 to 7? Like, what was the mental difference? What was the physical difference that made that even possible?
Physical difference, I have no idea, because I was in no shape at that point in time. Like, I was hardly doing anything. Mental is, I don't know, I found something inside my mind where I could just almost check out, but still like stay motivated.
Yeah.
And just just keep going. And also, I didn't want my wife to drop me.
Right. There's a pride factor there.
But she's a great runner. She was then, and she is now. So
yeah,
no shame in that. But I was like, I gotta keep up with her.
Right.
So.
And but it sounds like when your prior experience was you would just take off, you'd be out of breath in half a mile, and you're like, this is miserable. Yeah. I'm done.
I just played basketball.
Sound like part of it was like slowing down.
Yeah. Slowing down. Yeah, and not running as fast as you can, like learning how to pace.
Right.
I still have that problem sometimes.
Yes.
But
me too. Easy to go out too fast.
Yeah.
That is really awesome. And what about, I think I appreciate now better the physiology of moving from the half marathon to the marathon. But what about that was different, right? You talked about fading, or maybe some people call it bonking, but kind of what was your experience moving up to a 4-hour effort versus a 2-hour?
So in the Newport marathon, it was hot. Well, I remember it being very hot.
Yeah.
And just not having anything in the tank, you know, and I wasn't fueling. I didn't eat anything. Like,
oh, interesting.
I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah.
I was new.
Yeah.
And this is all, I was running on excitement, basically, like, I can't believe I'm doing this kind of thing.
Right.
And, I may have had a gel or two. I don't particularly remember.
Yeah.
But I do remember they had oysters on the course, and
that sounds horrible.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Very bad. But, there was a lot of walking towards the end.
Salt, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That sounds oysters on a good day for me, probably not. But in the middle of a marathon, no.
Sounds like a problem.
Sounds like a big
waiting
problem.
to happen.
Yeah. So a lot of walking towards the end of that.
Yeah.
Typical marathon stuff. Mile 21.
Absolutely.
Like body, knees, everything.
Right. And what's the for maybe someone who's thinking about moving up to a marathon for the first time, maybe an ultra marathon in the future? What physiologically, why mile 21? What happens to your body when you get there? What it's kind of the that causes that bonk?
I don't know, but it seems like it is that mile 21 mark, because it's happened to me a few times. Happened to my wife on her first marathon.
Yeah.
I think it's just like you've gone through 2/3 of it.
Yeah.
You're almost done, but still 5 miles is a long ways. And so you're like, I'm so close, but so far. And I think there's something mentally that happens where it's just a letdown almost.
Yeah.
And you have to push through that because you've done the training. Your body can do it.
Yeah.
You just have to convince your body to keep moving.
Yeah.
And I think that's
big part of it.
That's the key is, we all can do more than we think we can do.
Interesting.
It's.
I want to drill down on that a little bit more. And I think from what I understand as well is that, like our sugar stores in our muscles, there's about 17 to 22 miles worth of sugar kind of stored up, right? Yeah. Depending on how fast you're moving. Mm-hmm. And then if you're not fueling, or you haven't trained your body to burn fat, then you're like energy depleted for real.
Empty.
When you get there, right? So then you're just muscling through it. Mm-hmm. But I'm excited to hear how you sort of have trained around that. But tell me about this idea of, mentally pushing through fatigue, or you started training that, it sounds like, with the first marathons that you did.
Yeah.
Did you feel like you had any background, like in life, in work, that gave you sort of that mental fortitude or patience to navigate through some of that?
So I'm a recovering addict.
Okay.
I have almost 23 years of sobriety.
Congratulations.
Thank
you. Nice work.
And so I think, I view my sobriety as a long run. It's not immediate gratification.
Yeah.
It's something that's ongoing. It's going to keep going. It's not going to end. And so I kind of adapt that in my running too, where it's like, it's just because it's hard doesn't mean I got to stop. You just keep going. Just keep going.
Yeah.
So
thank you for that example.
Yeah, I think a lot of that comes from my sobriety. I don't talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
Not because I don't know. It's just I'm a sober person now. You know what I mean? Like I try not to dwell back on how things were before, and I move forward. And so yeah.
I appreciate you sharing that with us. And huge respect and
Thanks.
for making that change. Not everyone is able to make that pivot, right?
Yeah. It's
And
tough.
so, oof,
It's tough.
yeah. Tell me about that connection. Kind of. I think I remember a mantra saying in like 12-step. Not saying necessarily they went through 12 stuff, but sort of one day at a time.
Mm-hmm.
How does that link up to like 1 mile at a time
Absolutely.
in a
One
long
step,
race?
one step at a time.
Yeah.
You can break it down all the way to that. It's just keep moving forward.
Yeah,
You got to keep moving forward.
yeah.
You don't have a choice.
Except you do,
Yeah, you do.
right?
Yeah.
Except you do. And I think that's part of the thing to honor too, right? Is that you do have a choice, but
That is true.
you're choosing sobriety. You're choosing to keep moving forward in a race. Maybe when your mind is saying, "JP, like, what are we doing out here?"
Yeah.
Right.
And like I don't know. I don't want to give up.
Yeah,
I don't want to give up on my sobriety or on my body or running or the race or whatever it is. I just want to keep going.
yeah,
So I guess tenacity,
yeah.
stupidity. I don't know.
I'll take tenacity.
Yeah.
Does that translate to? So there's life experience translating to your running experience. Now in reverse, do you see, are those muscles that you have, kind of using a metaphor of, are the muscles you use get stronger? Is there an aspect of that now that through running that you feel like you've developed certain skills or capabilities even more than you did before? And how does that play back into your life now? Are there things that ultra running has taught you that now are coming back into your life generally?
Yeah, I can do hard things.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it basically comes down to that. I can do hard things. We all can do hard things. It's just a matter of trying, doing.
Would you say that people who run ultra distances, defined generally as more than a marathon, even someone who runs a marathon or a half marathon for that matter,
Yeah.
are uniquely physically gifted that others can or shouldn't aspire to? Or is it about, or is it available to everybody?
I don't know. I kind of go back and forth on that.
Okay.
I think everybody can.
Okay.
You have to make some certain choices to get to that point.
Okay.
I don't think everybody can right now go out and run a half marathon
Or should.
or should. But I think that everybody has it in them to do, maybe not run a half marathon, but to do something hard,
Okay.
to do something out of their comfort zone that they don't think they could do.
Yeah.
I think everybody has that in them. It's just a matter of tapping into that,
Yeah.
not desire, just tapping into it
Yeah.
and realizing it and believing in yourself. So,
And that belief maybe helps you to do the thing.
yeah. Because if you believe you can do it, it's not just going to happen, but that gives you a step forward,
Yeah.
like an intro into it.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the old saying? If you believe you can, if you believe you can't, you're right.
Yeah.
Probably in both ways.
Yeah.
Right? But you got to start with belief, hope, faith, whatever the term is, right? That the end result is possible.
Yeah.
I need to take certain steps today, tomorrow, and next week to get there. How do you see that, like with a race or what is that experience like when you sign up for a race? Like, because usually, how much in advance would you say usually know that you're going to be in a race?
Pretty far in advance,
Weeks, months,
usually months.
months.
Yeah, it's pretty rare that I'm going to just jump into a race on weeks' notice. Basically up to this year, it was the first Saturday in December, find out if I made it into Western States.
Yes.
And then if I didn't, which more than likely I wasn't, then I got to figure out what am I going to run to qualify? So it's like then I set the year up basically December, January-ish or whatever.
Yeah.
And then kind of planned the year from there.
And Western States has always been an anchor for that.
It has.
Yeah.
I don't really know why. It is. It's the race, right? And so that has been my driving factor.
Okay. I'm eager to unpack that. First,
Yes.
marathon to trail. What was that? What was that transition? How'd that happen? And when?
So I have a buddy, Bob Frost.
Okay.
And I met him while I was training for the Portland Marathon.
Okay.
I got tired of running alone. Not tired, but just like I wanted some companionship. And my wife ran, but she wasn't to that point yet.
Okay.
And so I went on to Facebook and said, anybody want to run 20 plus miles?
Yeah.
And I got a couple people saying, the man you need to talk to is Bob Frost.
Awesome.
And so we messaged a couple times and finally met up for a run. And out here in Scappoose, we have the CZ Trail, which is like a rail to trail. It's a linear trail. Starts in Scappoose, goes all the way to Vernonia. It's 22 miles long.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a great trail. And so we met there and we ran on that. And, we hit it off. And we're still running together now. But so he helped me train the long miles for Portland.
Okay.
And then after Portland, he said, so I'm going to run this race. It's the Hag Lake 50K.
Been there.
Do you want to run it? And I'm like, sure. Why stop now?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, here's the thing. So if you sign up for the 25K the next day and you run both, it's actually cheaper. They give you a discount. And I'm like, well, how can I say no to that? Right?
That's right. More miles, less money.
Exactly. So I signed up for the Hag Lake Double. Whew. Yeah. And so we trained together on the CZ, and I never really run trail other than the CZ.
Okay.
But he's like, we got to go into Forest Park. We got to get some single track trail in. Yeah. And so I'd never really done that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, sure. When I was a kid, my mom would take us up there to hike around the Arboretum. And I actually remember despising her for it, which is so funny now because it's just, I look back and I'm just like, oh my God.
Half a mile.
Yeah.
It's like a half a mile walk in.
Mom, what are you doing?
Yeah. And there's some hills in that. A little bit of elevation.
So January 2017, we had just gotten a lot of snow. It was really cold.
Yep.
And Bob's like, let's go run in Forest Park.
Okay.
And I'm like, sure, let's go.
Yeah.
And so we parked at the Leaf Barracks in Trailhead. Yeah. And we were the only car there because there's snow everywhere. It was cold. It was like 15 degrees outside. Wow. I'm not even kidding. Wow. It was so cold. And so we did a 20-mile run on Wildwood, out and back. I didn't bring anything with me.
Dude.
I was like, I'll just use the snow.
Yeah. Oh, no water.
No water, nothing.
Let alone gloves.
Nothing, yeah. And when I got home, I was purple.
Yeah.
And my wife was so worried because we were gone for so long.
Yeah.
But anyways, that was my first Forest Park experience.
Oh, man. Yeah. Challenging, but awesome.
Yeah. That's kind of how I guess I do things. But
was the Hag Lake 50K in 2017 your first ultra?
Yes. Yes, it was.
Okay. Further alignment, my first ultra.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
That's fantastic. Did you run it that year?
I did. That was my first ultra, 2017.
Oh, same day.
Same day.
First ultra. First race.
First ultra.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's really cool.
I probably saw you at some point in time out there.
I'll just share one fun anecdote. And I was a little less trained than you, a little too off the couch, but I had originally signed up for only the 25K. I wasn't bold enough to do the double, but I had mixed up the days, and so I only had Saturday available. And so I called the race director. I said, can I run the 50K? I'm just going to do one loop, though. She said, sure, you'll get a DNF, but that's totally fine. Come do that. And maybe you'll want to run both. And I'm like, I don't think so. But then, 2/3 of the way through the first one, I'm like, I probably could keep going, right? I probably could keep going. And so I decided I would run both, but I stopped at my car on the way through the parking lot, changed the shirt or something, I remember. And one of my goals was not to get lapped, right? Because I knew it was two circles. And I actually have a photograph. I was coming up to the midpoint, first lap of around the lake. People are clapping. They have someone's out with a camera taking pictures. And I'm like, this is awesome. Like, they're totally cheering me on. Right as I get to the line, Jeff Browning blasts past me, finishes 2 yards ahead of me. There's a photo of Jeff Browning at the finish line, and I'm 2 yards behind him, like grimacing as I get lapped. What's happening here? Didn't know who he was, and quickly learned about the legend of Bronco Billy. But
that's amazing.
That was my first experience. I think it took me about 8.5 hours. You probably were home by the time I finished.
Yeah, I think it was about 5:36.
See, no, you were crushing it.
Yeah, so I was super pumped.
Yeah,
I was super pumped. I'm like, holy crap!
And it was super muddy.
It was very muddy. The pig pen was still there.
Yeah,
and
that's a great time for your first 50K. 5.5. That's awesome.
It was like 5:36, I think.
That's great.
Yeah, so it was a pleasurable experience.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, sure, it hurt a little bit. You know, hurt a lot, but I finished it, and I'm like, dude, I can do this.
Yes.
I remember though, Sunday morning, standing there. It was raining.
Oh no!
I look at Bob, and I'm like, what are we doing? Why are we here?
We did 31 yesterday.
Yeah, what are we doing? Like, I was like trying to stretch, and I can't even move. Like, I'm just like so stiff and cold, and you know, by the time you do the lap in the parking lot, I was like, okay, I'm good.
Wow.
Yeah. So, finished that, and so I was
awesome, super
pumped, and like on cloud 9. You know, I mean, it hurt.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was fun.
So talk about doing hard things, like your first ultra, then you're doing a double 25K the next morning.
Yep.
And unwinding your body from your first ultra.
Yeah.
And you pulled that off.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. And so you're hooked. You're
I'm
like,
hooked.
I'm going to do more.
I'm hooked big time.
Yeah.
I'm an addict. I mean, what else,
yes.
what am I going to do now?
I'm eager
right?
to ask you about that. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's a definite thing for me.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I met another friend running out here in Scappoose.
Yeah.
Paula Jones.
Okay.
And she had done multiple hundreds already.
Yeah.
And she was training for the Tom McBurn 50 miler.
Okay.
And so I'm running with her, and I'm like, you think I could do 50 miles?
Yeah.
She's like, oh, yeah. You could totally do 50 miles. So I signed up.
Yeah.
So it was in April, the end of April.
Mm-hmm.
So I just done the double in February.
Awesome.
And so
it's a big step up fast.
It's a big step up.
Fast.
I was in over my head. I was in deep, but I don't know, I met these awesome people.
Yeah.
Super supportive.
Yeah.
Super fun. Run all day with me. You know, like, how could it be any better? Right?
And they're like, I can do this.
You can do this. You can do this. We can do this together. This is great.
I love it.
So yeah. So that was, it got real quick for me.
Yeah.
In the ultra running.
Because, you know, if you've done a marathon, my experience, 50K, a little bit harder, 5 more miles, that's something real. But when you finish the 50K and you're like, oh, I have 19 more to go, that feels like a lot.
Yeah. It was.
It was a lot.
It was a lot.
Did you run the race with friends, so you kind of had people alongside you for the race, or you just trained together?
We trained together. Paul was running the race.
Yeah.
Bob signed up for it too.
Okay.
So he came along.
Yeah.
Drug him along, very willingly though. So the race started, and I said I'm going to stick with Paula.
Yeah.
I just stuck with her. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. This is.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not too proud to admit that this is uncharted territory for me.
Yeah.
So I stuck with her, and all the way to Storyburn.
Okay.
I think it's mile 12, maybe,
okay,
or so, like the big aid station. In 2017, you hit that one 3 times.
Okay.
And so I started taking off out of that, and she had like stopped the tire shoe or something. I'm not sure, and I didn't realize it. I just kept running, and so that going down Storyburn, down, I'm sure you've been on that trail.
I have not.
Oh, you haven't?
Still haven't done the Tillamook Burn.
Okay. You never even run out there? Like done any of the training
No.
run? Oh, dude, we got to go out there.
Okay.
It is some of the best single track.
Okay. think I've mountain biked out there. Is that Gales Creek?
Yeah, Gales Creek. And
yeah,
then
I've been out there for mountain biking,
okay,
but never
yeah.
on a run.
It's pretty awesome.
Okay.
So I'm cruising down this hill, and I like, look, there's nobody behind me. And
Oh,
I'm
no.
like, I guess I'm going.
Drop my buddy.
Yeah, I guess I'm going. And so it was like a double out and back. So I saw her and Bob on the out and back, and came back through Storyburn, did another loop up Larch Mountain, came back, and then Eugene, I just met Eugene. He was at
Eugene Boone.
he was there, yep.
Yep.
And so, I come through that last one I think I had like 12 miles to go. And he's like all bumping me up, like, yeah, you're almost there. You got it.
He was at the aid station,
He was at the
which
aid
Y
station.
East Wolfpack always does,
always,
which is awesome.
Yeah. And so I'm like, I'm jacked, right? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do this. And I take off down the trail, and I get like a mile, and I'm like, I still have 11 miles to go. Like, calm down a little bit.
Yeah.
But
We're
it's
not
so
sprinting
funny.
to the finish.
Yeah, he had me so pumped. I was ready. I was like going to sprint the whole 12 miles.
That's right.
I'm like, whoa, hold on.
Yeah.
So finished that. It was great. Had a great time. Super epic experience.
Awesome.
Got home. My wife was so worried. There's no cell service out there.
Yes.
And so I didn't text her because I was driving back,
Yes.
and so she was getting real worried.
Because that's a, 9-10 hour race?
For me, I finished it in 10 and a half, a little
Yep.
over 10 and a half, just under 10:40, I think.
Yep.
But then I waited for Bob and Paula,
Okay.
and then we drove back.
So you're like 12, 14 hours in.
Yeah, and it's an hour drive,
Yeah.
hour 10 back here, so I show up, it's kind of dark out, and
Yeah.
she's like super worried, but
Yes.
very relieved to see me that I was fine.
And your wife, Erin, who got you into running in the first place, she's still tracking kind of the half marathon distance?
Yeah, her first marathon was the Columbia Gorge Marathon.
Okay.
I want to say it was 2017.
Okay.
I want to say it was October 2017. So I think she kind of caught the bug, maybe. I'd have to ask her on that. I don't really remember. But seeing me run all this stuff, I think maybe inspired her a little bit.
She's like, my husband who couldn't do a 5K 3 years ago or 6 months ago or a year ago, right? I guess it'd been a couple years.
It'd been a couple years, yeah.
But you were progressing quickly.
Yeah, progressing quickly. So, yeah, her first marathon was Columbia Gorge.
Yeah.
And that was a good experience. I ran it with her. We ran it together.
Awesome.
So that was fun.
I know you're at race weight, and so you're always, at least I am, always a little cool when it's race weight. If you need to grab a sweatshirt,
I think I do because I'm like starting to shiver.
Grab one.
Yep.
We'll pause.
Okay, cool.
Go for it.
Thank you.
All right, we're back. We're back in action here. And we did mention JP was generous enough to host us here at his home in Scappoose, Oregon, a little bit northwest of Portland.
Yeah.
10, 15 miles.
Yeah, it's about 18.
18 miles northwest of Portland. Out here, beautiful countryside. Awesome. Gave me hood to coast flashbacks running up the road.
How many times have you ran hood to coast?
Probably 6 or 7.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What's your favorite van?
My favorite van?
Yeah.
My favorite experience, one year we decided to roll together for the whole race.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we, because both vans I've enjoyed, but one year we're like, you know what? It's like you kind of have a team of 6 and you see each other for 10 minutes at the swap and then you're off and running. And we had like a 15-seater van. We put a bed in the back and we're like, what if we have seating for like 10? A couple people can rest in the back. Mm-hmm. So we rolled for the whole
That's awesome.
30 hours as a group of 12.
Nice.
That was super fun.
Yeah, I bet.
That was super fun. So that was good.
Have you ever done like an ultra relay?
I haven't.
It's really fun.
It does sound fun.
We've done the Wild Rogue a couple times.
Okay.
It's a 6-person team.
Okay.
So you run 6 times. The van's always rolling, but there's only 6 of you.
Yeah.
And it's a blast. Wild Rogue,
Okay.
and it's so beautiful down there too.
Can I put that on my list?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, we layered up a little bit if you're watching the video podcast, because it's a little bit cooler here in Oregon tonight. But and JP's at race weight, so we'll be eager to hear about how he manages that. So you've got your first couple of ultras under your belt. Mm-hmm. When does Western States enter the picture as you mentioned as kind of an anchor for your schedule? Like when, how far were you into 2017 and beyond where you heard about it? And then how long until you're like, I'm going to try and qualify for that?
I think it was 2018.
Okay.
I heard about it. I've been talking to Paula a lot because she runs several hundreds, and so I was like, okay, I think it's time.
Okay.
So 2018, I ran Mountain Lakes, which was a qualifier. So that was my first qualifier.
Yep.
Which I ran. That's where I met you.
That's where we met.
Yep.
Yep.
So yeah, that's kind of where the Western States journey started.
Awesome.
Yeah.
My first qualifier as well. And I think we met middle of the night on the Pacific Crest Trail.
Yeah. Yep.
Somewhere during the Mountain Lakes 100.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't, we had a chance to run a few miles, I think kind of seesawing back and forth. And it's amazing how then you follow each other on Strava, and then next thing you know, you're seeing someone's name and they're running accomplishments almost every day for 5 years. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yep.
And then Mountain Lakes 100 2021 that we both ran in.
Yep.
So that was our third race together. Hag Lake 50K,
Mm-hmm.
Mountain Lakes 100 2018 and 2021.
Yeah.
Okay. So 2018, that's your first qualifier.
Yep.
You put your name in the hat for Western States.
Yep.
And then that just became a goal. You would.
Yep. So 2019, put in for a lottery, and I don't remember what it was. What did I put in for? I think I put in for Cascade Crest.
Okay.
And I was way down on the wait list.
Okay.
And I was getting antsy. And I put in for Waldo, and I got in for Waldo, and got into Waldo.
Yeah.
For 2019. And so I just dropped Cascade Crest and was like, I'm just going to do Waldo. It's a sure thing. I'm in,
Yeah.
and it's a qualifier.
Yep.
And I'd done it the year before. And so I was kind of like, I had revenge on my mind. It was my first 100K.
Okay.
And it's kind of a burly one. And so I was like, I learned a lot.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to go back and give it the what for. And
nice.
And so, so 2019, that was my qualifier.
For folks who don't know, so maybe tell a little bit about like what is a qualifier and what do you talk about when you say a lottery? What do you mean when you say there's a lottery for a race?
So the Western States has deemed certain races to be qualifiers, and you have to run these races and finish them. Some of them in a allotted amount of time, some of them just finish.
Yep.
It kind of depends on the race. They're 100Ks or 100-milers. I don't believe there's any 50-milers. I think it's just 100Ks and 100-milers. And, they're all over the country. They're all over the world, actually.
Yeah.
Luckily, here in Oregon, we have several.
Yeah.
We have 5?
I think so.
So we don't have to go very far, luckily. Yeah. And then in Washington, too, there's some, because Cascade Crest
Northern California.
They're all over the place. So for us, it's not, horribly hard to get to a race to qualify. So,
but those races may or may not have a lottery, meaning they are.
Yeah. So like a lot of these races do, there's a lottery to get into it.
Yeah.
And so if you don't get in the lottery, most of them have wait lists. Waldo does not.
Okay.
But most of them do. But if you really want to get into Western States, you got to get that qualifier. So if you're on a wait list, like, you really want to put all your eggs in that one basket, you can get on the wait list. So, you got to have backup plans, and it's kind of like a shuffle game, like, well, I could do this one or I could do that one, and just kind of figuring it out how you're going to make it work. And
that was even more important. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the rules changed, but you used to have, because with Western States, it also is a lottery.
Yep.
And you get more tickets the more years you've applied in a row, but you used to have to qualify every year to keep your streak going.
Yep. Use it or lose it, basically.
Right.
And so now they've changed that so you can carry over. So if you miss a year, you basically put it on pause, and then you have to requalify to put in, but you don't lose your tickets.
That's right. Yeah. It's like it's still your fourth year, even though it was 2 years ago that was your third year.
Exactly.
Your fourth year of applying.
Yep.
Not necessarily in a row, but the fourth time you've qualified.
Exactly. Yeah. And so then, like, the first year is 1 ticket, second year is 2, third year is 4, then 8, then 16, then 32, and 64. You know, and then it's like, then it starts getting interesting.
Because if I remember right, the numbers, I think again from this year, there's maybe almost 6,000 people who qualified and entered the lottery. 7,000 this year.
Over 7,000.
And how many tickets now are going through the system? If you have more than one ticket, which many people do, last year, the year before last, I want to say it was 25,000. There's probably 30,000 tickets.
Easy.
And of that, there are only 369 spots in the Western States race, which was because of a permit they got, I want to say in like 89 or something, like 100 years ago.
Right,
like that was the permit number of runners they could put. It's still the same.
Yep.
And it's never apparently going to change.
No.
Maybe even just because it makes it so crazy exclusive. But so there's, let's say 30,000 tickets, and you're not even drawing for 369.
Nope.
Because a bunch of those are professionals or
golden tickets, top 10s.
Golden tickets, top 10, sponsor spots. I think there's maybe 200 lottery spots, something around
about
that.
200-ish
About 200.
So, yeah.
You're one of them.
I'm one of them.
For 2023, tell me about kind of year to year. Did you ever, what was your kind of thought each year on that first Saturday in December when they would draw for Western States? Did you tune in? Did you think you'd ever get in? What was kind of your psyche around Western States?
I didn't think I'd ever get in. I mean, eventually, but, like nowhere anytime soon. Yeah. So there's a half marathon in St. Helens, a road half marathon, and it's always on the first Saturday in December.
Okay.
So I've run it every year since 2016.
Yeah.
And so it was after 2018, run the race, check my phone. Nope, I didn't get in. so there was no like listening in or watching the lottery or anything. It all happened. But I got injured in August.
Okay.
And so I wasn't running at all.
Yeah.
And so this December I didn't run the race. And so I tuned in.
Awesome.
I was watching the live lottery.
Where were you?
I was here at home.
Here at home by yourself?
By myself. I think I was probably the only one up because it starts relatively early on a Sunday morning. And so I was watching it and doing other things, and something happened. I can't remember what. I turned it off, had to go take care of something. I can't remember exactly what. And so then I went over to the computer, logged in, and was kind of just looking through, and I saw my name, and I'm like, what?
Whoa.
What? And Erin was standing right there. I'm like, I got in. She's like, what? No, you didn't. And like almost instantly, my phone just starts like blowing up. I'm getting texts all over the place, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this really just happened. I did get in. It was pretty crazy
because everyone's watching.
Everyone's watching. I had some friends that I knew that were actually there live at the lottery.
Awesome.
And so I went back and watch them call my name, and I could hear my friends like yelling my name. It's pretty cool. So yeah.
I'll reclassify that. Everyone on the ultra scene is watching, especially if you've put your name in the hopper.
Yep.
And they're doing it live up on the stage, drawing people's names one by one, tickets out of a box. Now I think it's electronic.
Now it's electronic, just pushing a button on the laptop.
Push a button.
But yeah.
So your phone blows up, you see your name on the already picked list, you scroll back, watch the video. First thoughts?
I gotta start running. Because I've been injured, and I was like kind of not still, but I wasn't all the way back.
Yeah.
Yet. I wasn't any sort of consistency yet. I still was a little unsure.
Yeah.
So I thought I was back, and then I pushed it too far in October and basically undid everything that I had done.
Okay.
So I had to start over in October. So I was like very much slow playing it.
Yeah.
We're a Disney family.
Okay.
We go to the Disney parks quite a bit.
Yeah.
Love it. 2020, we did the Goofy's Challenge. We ran the half marathon, and the next day we ran the marathon. It's through the park. It's
Awesome.
So 2023, it was Aaron and my 20-year wedding anniversary.
Congrats.
So we wanted to, thank you. We wanted to go do it again for our 20th anniversary. So like I already knew, like I'm like kind of running out of time. This is December.
Yeah.
It's got in Western States, and I'm kind of running. And we had like a month until I'm supposed to do road marathon, half marathon, road marathon.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, and we don't race it. It's fun, but
Sure.
but I still want to, be able to run it.
Yeah.
So things got real quick.
Yeah.
I was like, shit, I got to get my stuff in gear. So.
And it seems, maybe this is just the way I've run my calendar. It seems like most races are kind of midsummer to the fall.
Yes.
Longer races.
Yes.
And so did that change the cadence of like your normal training calendar? Did you usually have an off season and then you're kind of ramping up in the spring, or did it just kind of move you forward a few months, or were you already attuned to kind of being in fitness in June?
Yeah. I mean, I want to, when summer comes, I want to be able to do adventure runs.
Yeah.
I want to go, I love running at night. I love, I love running overnight.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at it, but yeah. So I like to be able to do something long, by this time. So that really didn't change anything. I was a little worried about my knee and like how things were going to go there, but I was able to get it all sorted out and start training. And usually I would do a couple races, leading up to my big race.
Yep.
I didn't do that this year.
Okay.
Just because with being June and just how things were. I did sign up for the Peterson Ridge Rumble.
Okay.
I was going to run the 40 miler in April.
Yep.
But it just, there was so much snow.
Okay.
And I was like, I signed up for it because it's a faster 40 miler. And so I was like, this will be a good Western States, because there's some good runnable sections in Western States. There's some good, runnable sections in Peterson. I thought they kind of lined up well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when there was a bunch of snow, we were going to go to Europe too, like right after that. And I'm like, there's no, only bad things could come of this.
Yeah.
I could turn my ankle. I could, anything could happen. So we bailed on that, which I'm glad, because they got turned down to like a 26 miler because of the snow. So it's 40, then they're going to 35, and then day of race they put it at a 26.
Wow.
Which it's fine, it's great, but
Sure.
that's not what I wanted to do. So
Yeah.
that worked out fine. But so didn't do any long races this year. So I'm hoping that means I got a little extra stores, that I'm not that I can use for Western States. So
Love it.
And I'm also very excited to get my long race and qualifier and everything done early in the year.
Because Western States is also a Western States qualifier.
Right. It cracks me up. I love it.
It should be.
It should be, but it's just funny to me. I don't know.
That's right. Yeah, the qualifiers prove you could do Western States, so what better measure than actually doing Western States? Any other changes to your training this year that you adopted for Western States?
Not really.
Yeah.
Not really. It's kind of, once I got back into shape, it was just, business as usual.
Yeah.
I have a coach. I've used
Tell me
her,
about that.
Dana Katz.
Okay.
She, Ultra U is her business.
Okay.
And I've used her. I used her for Mountain Lakes in 2021.
Yep.
And then last year for Cascade Crest, I had her write me a static plan, last 6 weeks, just to make sure I stayed. I have a tendency of going a little too far.
Yep.
Pushing things a little bit too much. And so I want somebody that knows what they're doing, just to kind of keep me in check more than anything, because I have a tendency to overtrain, overdo, over everything. So
nice.
That just kind of keeps me, on the right path.
Yeah.
So, so she's great.
Awesome.
So she's got me tip-top shape. Love working with her. Couldn't recommend her more.
What does on a plan she's put together, or your personal training program, what does a training week look like for JP ramping up to a race, Western States? What does that look like for you?
So Monday's a rest day. Typically she does videos weekly videos. So it's like a mobility video on Mondays. She does live early, like 6 a.m.
Yeah.
But then it's recorded. So I'll usually do the mobility video on Mondays.
Okay.
And then Tuesday is usually a speed workout or a hill repeat workout.
Okay.
Early on in training with her, it was track work.
Okay.
And then as we got closer to the race, we moved on to hill repeats.
Yeah.
Which I love. I love hill repeats. It's so much fun.
Hamburger Hill, I see you guys hit often here in town.
Hamburger Hill, yep.
Okay.
That's a good one.
All right.
It's no BPA, but it's like 860 feet in 2 miles. So it's pretty good.
Yeah.
So hill repeats. Wednesdays she does a strength video.
Okay.
A live strength video in the evening, and so I usually will do that, like strength training for runners.
No run on Wednesday?
Usually not.
Yep.
Towards the end of it, I've been doing like a 30 or 45 minute like easy run after the strength.
Yeah.
Thursday would usually be like an easy hour with strides.
Yeah.
A lot of strides at the end of runs.
Yeah.
And then Friday, sometimes a run, sometimes not.
Yep.
And then Saturday, Sunday, like that's the meat and potatoes there.
Okay. And usually you're doubling up a couple of long runs.
Yeah.
To practice a back-to-back, kind of fatigued.
Yep. Yeah. Saturday is usually a little bit longer, maybe a little more intensity.
Yeah.
Whereas Sunday might be just longer and a little more chill.
Okay. And longer is?
I think I did 50K was my longest.
Okay.
And I did that 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
So, but a lot of running in that too, not just power hiking stuff.
Yeah.
It's a lot of running.
Which is interesting, right? Because I think people would say, but the Western States, that's 100 miles. Don't you have to run and train 100 miles to be ready for that?
I always thought so.
Yeah.
But apparently not.
Okay.
So, last year, she had me, I think 30 miles is my longest run leading up to Cascade Crest. And, it didn't go perfect for me, but, I finished-ish where I wanted to.
Yeah.
But, I finished strong and, it was a good race. I had fun.
Really interesting.
Yeah. So,
because there's a trade-off to, and you like you said, you would do races as part of a training ramp up to your
usually I do
big
100K
race. Yeah.
for a 100 miler. I'd get a 60 miler in.
Yeah. I feel like I'm hearing that more and more. Pros, others, right? Kind of beyond 20. I mean, I guess you could even say a 50K, but a lot beyond that. I think there's a lot of damage.
A lot of people say you're doing more damage than good.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. They're smarter than me, so I guess I'd like to do the longer run, but
Or even here, I think it was Camille Herron saying in a podcast I listened to that she would even break up like a 20 miler in the morning and in the evening, right? Mm-hmm. Like, so if she wanted to do something bigger, she'd still do 20 miles, stop for 6 hours, go do another 20. I mean, that's extreme, right? And she's a pro, but something about that push well beyond that can maybe even set us back that we don't appreciate. But that's awesome. Thing that you're most excited about Western States?
Just the pageantry, just all of it, just like being there on this iconic trail with so many amazing runners. Yeah. Like just some of the elites that are running it. Yeah. Like, I can't believe that I'm going to be running the same on the same trail as these, I'm not going to see them after the first 3 minutes, but hey, that's cool.
That's right. That's right. You can line up in the elite shoot.
Sure.
I think
I'm
it's
sure they'll
I think
let
it's
me in
small
there.
enough group. Yeah. Yeah, tell me about that with ultra. I mean, it's almost like getting to play a flag football game with like the Super Bowl champs, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's kind of like you can be alongside the world's best ultra runners. Mm-hmm. Elites who are running this year that you're excited to toe the line with?
Courtney.
Yeah.
Camille. I think Heather Jackson, who's like a gravel racer.
Yeah.
And so she won a golden ticket, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm drawing a blank now, but there's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah. You knew only because 2018 Mountain Lakes, Courtney's husband,
Kevin,
ran that year.
Yeah, I ran a little bit with him.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of yo-yoed a little bit, and then he destroyed, and I limped along.
But in 2021, you did the opposite. You were crushing.
I went back for redemption. I got my sub 24. So I was
nice, dude.
Yeah.
That was my 2018 experience, but not 2021. But I remember seeing you throughout the night, further and further ahead of me at different aid stations or out and backs where I saw you, and it was awesome to watch. You were crushing it.
It was a pretty amazing experience for me. It was very wet. I'm sure you remember.
Yeah.
It was a very wet day, and I got into, I think it was mile 58, the Olali Meadows aid station, which was kind of the turnaround.
Yes.
And there was just a lot of carnage there.
Yeah.
A lot of cold, wet people. A lot of people were dropping. I went into the warming tent, and my wife basically stripped me.
Yeah.
Completely stripped me, put all new clothes on me. Like, just, I wasn't thinking straight at all at that point in time. Just like giving me food, eat this, drink this, eat this. And I was in there for about 45 minutes. And so like I was kind of down.
Yeah.
Because I was like, the whole reason I came back was to try to get the sub 24.
Yeah.
You know, and I know that's not the reason why we do things, but like I had something in my mind, and that's what I wanted to do. And I was like, you know, I don't think it's not going to happen now. I've spent too much time in here. I'm too cold.
Yeah.
So my crew was there, came out of the tent, and, you know, gave them all high fives. Like, you know, like, thanks for being here. Appreciate the support. Basically, I just zipped up my jacket as tight as I could, covered up my watch, and didn't even look at it, and just took off.
Yep.
And a buddy of mine who I saw who's coming into the aid station just looked horrible. And so many people I see, and they were cold, and just it was crazy. It was crazy how wet it was in September and cold, you know, in Oregon.
Yeah.
None of us thought it was going to be that bad.
And the weather had been amazing for weeks on end.
Yeah. And then right afterwards, too.
Right afterwards, but I think they called it an atmospheric river.
Yeah. We ran through an
1 a.m., started dumping for about 24 hours.
Yeah.
It just soaked us.
I remember going up some of the climbs, and it was just like a stream coming down.
Yeah.
You know, you're just completely soaked. So I left the aid station. You know, I'm just going to do what I can.
Yeah.
You know, so I started power hiking because I was cold still.
Yes.
Started warming up. Saw a buddy of mine, Nate, and he's like, dude, you're doing great. He's like, you can still do the sub 24. And I'm like, no, I can't.
Yeah.
You know, like, I appreciate the support, Nate. You know, like,
Yeah.
appreciate you trying to pump me up, but, you know, it's fine. You know, I'm just going to finish. It's going to be great. And so I started running a little bit, and then I'm like, start thinking, I'm like, maybe he wasn't messing with me. And I eventually I kind of like looked at my watch and like started thinking, I'm like, I think I could.
Yeah.
And so like any downhill, I started running and, you know, power hiking the ups, and kind of caught on fire.
Yeah.
And got into what was it, Warm Springs.
Yeah.
And Shane was there. Eric, you know Eric.
Yeah.
Yep, man, they were there, and they're like, dude, this can happen.
Yeah.
You can make this happen.
Yeah.
And so like I was pretty pumped.
Yeah.
And that climb up to Red Wolf is a grinder. I don't know if you remember that.
Yes.
And I was yelling at myself, just like trying to pump myself
Come
up,
on.
just go. Your friends are waiting, your wife is waiting, everybody, you know, they took time out of their day, you know, their lives to be here to support you. Like, just go.
Yeah.
And I came into Clackamas with 18 miles to go. I had about 4 hours to get under 24 hours.
Dude.
My crew wasn't ready for me. My pacer was, they're standing there. My pacer's got his like jacket on, his pants on and stuff. And they're like, they didn't expect me for another like 30, 40 minutes.
Yes.
And I come ripping in there, and I'm just
Crushing.
like, we got to go.
Yeah.
We got to go. Like, I knew I had
can
4
do
hours,
this.
but 18 miles, 4 hours, like, my kryptonite on these 100 miles is the overnight part.
Yeah.
Is staying awake, like the witching hour. It's really hard for me to stay awake.
Yeah.
I've struggled with it. I knew it. And so I was like, let's go. Mark was great. Mark was my pacer. He got ready super quick. We hit the trail, took off, and we made it almost to that first aid station, and I started feeling it coming on. I'm just like, oh, no.
Yes.
No, just like, not now. And we got into that aid station, and I was like, coffee, any caffeine we could get.
Yeah.
And
Might have been Y East.
It was. It was. Yep. And I'm not sure it was dark, so I'm not sure who was there, who helped me. It could have been Willie, could have been Eugene. I don't know.
But coffee was there.
Coffee was there. It helped a little bit, and we're going around the lake, and like I'm kind of in and out of this coma. Mark is like trying to encourage me to be great. Start running, feeling better. Then I got to walk. As soon as I start walking, it's just like falling asleep. So we get into the dam, and I'm like,
Just like 3 miles out from the finish.
I think it's 4. Maybe?
Yeah.
I had 45 minutes.
Dude.
And I'm like,
96 miles in.
I'm like, fuck.
I can do it, but it's going to take work.
I can do it. They mixed me up this super salty broth, like the saltiest broth I've ever had. It was like I could barely even stomach it, but it was like so warm, and
Yeah.
it was what I needed. And so I told Mark, I'm like, we're going to give it a shot, man.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen, but we're going to try.
Yeah.
And so I start hiking, start running. And then the night before, I did a little out and back from the finish, just to kind of like visualize the finish.
Yes.
I think it really helped because I was like,
Nice.
okay, now there's a little hill right here. And I told Mark, I'm like, we're going to run to there, then we're going to power hike. It kind of became like a game. And like I was running like 11s, maybe.
Awesome. Huge.
Huge at that point in
Yes.
time. Considering like 30 minutes ago, I was a walking zombie.
Yes.
And so just kind of doing that thing, hiking, running, just playing that game. And I realized like we got like a mile out, and I'm like, I got this.
Got it.
I could walk and make it, but I didn't. I kept running, and the finish line, you got up to the top, and there's a hard left,
Yep.
and like kind of like around the buildings or whatever.
Yep.
I just huge yell. It was like, yeah! So excited, and just come just ripping in there. And my wife and kids and Dana were all there, like sitting here, like looking at the clock,
Getting
and
close.
my wife's like, oh no, because she knew how much it meant.
Yeah.
And they were all getting really nervous, and so it was pretty awesome to come across the finish line and see them and cheering me on, and it was pretty special.
Nice work, dude.
Thanks.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It was pretty epic. That's why I do it.
Yeah.
Just to feel alive and to see your family waiting for you. It's
Yeah.
pretty
Tell me
awesome.
about the feel alive part, like, because some people be like, well, you're almost near death, so I guess it would make you feel alive. But tell me about, how does it make you feel more alive than the rest of life? Like,
just like looking back on what happened over that day,
yeah,
and to know like what I went through and what all of us on the race course went through.
Yeah.
The people who finished behind me, ahead of me, behind me, all of us, like we were all in it together.
yeah,
We all did this, tackled the same elements, and like to get through that and to like come out on the other side
yeah,
it's pretty special.
yeah,
It's pretty epic. And just I don't know. To me, that makes me feel alive.
yeah.
And to like reflect on all of it, every step, it's, to me, that's powerful.
Feels like it taps into, well, at least I feel like I have to summon like the most out of myself to do something that hard.
Absolutely.
And so to have a group of people around you
Who believe in you and take time out of their lives
Yeah.
to come support you is,
and other
Wow.
athletes who are summoning the same
yeah.
strength and power and
You gotta dig
perseverance. Yeah.
You got to dig deep, whether you win the race or you're DFL.
Yeah.
Everybody's digging deep, and everybody's deep is different.
Yeah.
But everybody's digging deep.
Yeah.
Nobody's out there coasting.
No.
Like we're all
No.
suffering in a way.
It's really compelling. Okay, so the thing you're most excited about with Western States is running with some of the elites. Thing that you're most nervous about?
Snow,
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. The first, what, 10, 20?
maybe 30. I don't know.
Yeah. What have you seen? What's the course read right now?
It sounds like the first 20. So definitely the first 20.
Mm-hmm.
And then you kind of dip down a little bit, and then you climb back up to Robinson Flat at 30.
Yeah.
And so there could be a little more snow up there. So it's going to be what it's going to be.
Yeah.
We all got to do it.
That's
And
awesome.
So it's just one step in front of the other. And
Does that change your gear setup at all that you'll have snow, that
not
early part?
really.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't alter your shoes. You can't use poles there.
Okay.
So I'm just going to wear my trail shoes and
No poles on Western States.
No poles in Western States.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You can't modify your shoes either. So like
No yak
like
tracks
screws,
or anything like that.
No yak tracks, no screws, nothing like that.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I'm not sure why the rule is, but that's the rule.
Yeah.
That's fine. You know, it's just gonna slow me down a little bit in the
No
beginning.
screws. I love it. Yeah. Let's really modify stuff up, get some spikes going.
Yeah.
Okay. That's super cool. That's super cool. What, do you have a strategy for the day? Have you kind of given some thought to what your plan is? Or you said earlier you told me you watched a lot of videos.
I've been watching a lot of videos. Probably too many videos. You know, I'm just going to take it easy in the beginning.
Okay.
And I know I'm going to be slipping. I might fall, you know, so I don't want to expend too much energy because that snow can really take it out of you.
Yeah.
You know, and so I just want to try to like conserve. And when I get to Forest Hill, hopefully we can run.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. I want to try to run the last part.
Yeah. And it might be as
Run.
warm as, we go through snow at the top and then maybe.
Yeah, and you know, right now the temperatures look decent, but
Okay.
I mean, it can get in those canyons 110. And you know, with last
Dude.
year's fire, like I hear there's a lot less
shade.
so it could be pretty fire and ice.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Okay. And what is kind of tail of the tape, right? Like kind of fighting weight for you, race day, where are you going to land? Is that important to you? Are you kind of usually in the same spot? You go up and down?
Yeah, I'm right around 200-ish.
Yeah.
You know, it'd probably be better if I was a little lighter, but
Yeah.
I like to eat.
Yeah.
I like to eat a lot.
You picked a good sport for it.
I know. So,
Any new gear you're trying out? Or are you going tried and true?
you know, the other day I was watching a video.
Uh-huh.
And Sally McRae, I can't remember what year she was running it.
Yeah.
But she's wearing arm sleeves.
Yes.
And she was taking ice and shoving them in the arm
Oh.
sleeves. And I'm like, that is brilliant. If it's
a great
that
idea.
hot.
Yeah.
So last night I did a run, just like a 9-mile run around the house, around town, and put the arm sleeves on and shoved some ice in the arm sleeves just to see like how that was, and it seemed to work out pretty good.
Because heat management's huge in those canyons.
Yeah. So I'm gonna try that.
Awesome.
Handkerchief, ice, you
Yes.
know, try to stay cool as possible. Try to channel what I'm feeling right now.
Yeah.
remember that.
Right, the cold.
The cold.
Yes. Any heat training? Is there a way to train for that at all?
You know, I've been in the hot tub every night.
Yep.
I got a hot tub here, so Dana kind of put together a program for me.
Nice.
103 degrees up to my neck. Started out like 10 minutes, and I've been working up. I'm almost to 40 minutes now. So I feel like it's working.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm able to stay in there a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But like my head is just like I'm sweating so
Yeah.
much in there. But you know, I know that some people use saunas, but I have a hot tub, so I don't know.
It works.
You can try it.
Awesome. And plan for kind of going down there? You getting there a couple days early? You gonna be down there?
Yeah. So we're driving down Thursday morning.
Okay.
Renting a 15-person van.
Yeah.
Taking out some seats. We got some room. I got a crew. Gonna drive down there. Got a place to stay in Alpine Valley, which is like 15 minutes away.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do that and hang out. I'll get a
Awesome.
little run in on Friday.
Yeah.
Do the check-in. They got the pre-race announcements or whatever. So I guess that can take a long time. I've been told to bring a chair.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
settle in, because that can be a while. I guess they bring out like the favorites.
Okay.
You know, like introduce everybody. and
Yeah.
stuff. So it'll be pretty cool.
If I was going to say, if I remember right, from the Mountain Lakes 100, I just remember being in an aid. I think it was maybe the one after Olali Meadows, but there was kind of I can't remember the name of the aid station there. You kind of drop down into,
Pinheads?
but might have been there. But I just remember you were coming back. You were way ahead of me, but I just remember it seemed like on that race your crew was like Formula One race pit.
We kind of got it
Like
dialed
they
in.
were like, I just remember tight turns.
Yeah.
Can't remember if you had 2 packs or what you had going on, but there was something I remember just thinking, wow, JP's got it dialed over there. You guys
Yeah,
had
we did have
crew
2
going on.
packs.
Yeah.
You know, and so everything's all loaded, and then Yeah. So try to, one of my weaknesses too in races is I can get lost in aid stations.
Okay.
I can just waste time for no reason other than the fact that I'm just kind of like floating in there,
Yeah.
you know, like, so I try to get in and out as fast as possible, because you look back on a race and I mean, you can waste hours that you could have been moving.
If you could, you're going to be a Western States finisher in 8 days or whatever. If you could tell yourself something today, as the Western States finisher, what would you tell yourself?
Enjoy the day, soak it all in.
Okay.
Because I may or may not ever be back there.
Yeah.
It's an iconic trail, you know, just try to be present and appreciate what you're able to do, what my body's able to do.
Yeah.
You know, the privilege that I have, because not everybody has this privilege. Not everybody has the means, the flexibility, you know, so I'm fortunate, and I need to stay present in that.
Yeah.
And just enjoy it, because it's going to be awesome.
It's going to be awesome. You've done a lot of, if I know from your Strava feeds and your races, Erin, your wife, does now run ultras. What's kind of been the family impact now that you're 5-6 years deep into your ultra experiences? Like, what has that meant for your family that this has been an athletic path you've chosen?
It's been an adjustment.
Yep.
You know, just kind of learning how to train.
Yeah.
Each other train. You know, sometimes we train together, sometimes we train apart. Our kids are a little older, so they don't need us at home as much.
Yeah.
They still need us.
Yeah.
You know, but like weekends, usually long runs early. They're teenagers. They like to sleep in, so we can go get a long run in and get back. And more times than not, they haven't even, they didn't even know we were gone. You know, so, you know, just doing that and still trying to, you know, have family time, you know, because it's all important.
Yes.
You know, and I don't want my kids to feel like I'm like abandoning them or choosing, you know, running over them. So it's a tightrope. I'm sure there's been times when they have felt like that.
Yeah.
And I know there's probably been times where they've been drug around to the mountains for races and they're like, really, again?
Yeah.
You know, so, but I appreciate it more than words could ever say, you know?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure, you know, like you roll into an aid station and see your people there, man, it's
amazing.
Like, lifts you up like
Yeah.
beyond belief.
Yeah.
It's huge. So,
and balancing family, you work as well.
I do full time. Yeah.
And that means training is what, early mornings?
In the evenings.
Evenings.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not an early morning riser.
Yep.
I also leave the house at 6:30 in the morning to go to work, you know?
You are an early morning riser.
Yeah.
Just,
so,
just
but
get out the door.
In order to run, I'd have to be up at 3:30.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just, that's not me. So it's usually get home from work, 4:30, eat something, try to be out the door by 5.
Yeah.
So I'm back by, you know, 6:30, 7 at the latest for some of the longer workouts. But then we got the evening together.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Super pumped for all of that. Would love to wrap things up with a couple speed questions.
Okay. Lay it on me.
Or here's one, and then we'll do a speed questions. What myth about ultra running or trail running would you like to debunk? Like, what do you think people believe or don't believe about it that they should?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really sure what people outside of, I think they think we're all crazy.
Okay.
I think that would be it, is we're just people. We're driven in a different way. You know, like everybody's driven, and I think that's what most people like. You're doing what?
Yeah.
What? And you're choosing to do this? No one's chasing you?
Right.
So I would say that we're not all crazy.
Yeah.
We just have different passions.
I don't even like driving 100
Oh
miles.
my gosh! You know how many times my dad, every time he's just like, I don't even like driving that far.
You can go run it. Bless their hearts. Yeah. I love it. All right. Couple of rapid fire questions. Favorite shoes? I know this answer, but only because when I walked in, I saw a lineup outside your front door.
Yeah,
Ultras.
I'm all in on Ultra.
Love it. Love it. Favorite packaged race nutrition? This would be like not real food, but like coming out of a
Spring
Spring Energy
Yeah,
gels.
Spring Energy.
Do you have a favorite?
Awesome sauce. Oh man, 45 grams of carbs.
Yeah.
And it's like you can't get much better than that.
So good.
It's like fuel for your brain.
Yeah.
Especially late.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Easy to go down.
Easy to go down.
I knocked down a bunch of that at the 50K last weekend. Loved it.
Yep.
Favorite real food, although the spring stuff
It's
is almost in the real food category.
Yeah.
Favorite real food, not in a package during a race.
Quesadillas.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cheese quesadilla.
Yeah.
Anti-chafe.
Oh yeah. Squirrel's nut butter.
Okay. SMB.
Yeah.
Pack, a belt, nothing. Handheld.
Pack.
What are you doing for carry
Pack,
stuff?
a Solomon pack.
Solomon pack.
Yeah.
Awesome. Bladder, pack bottles, or a handheld?
So bottles and a bladder.
Okay.
I need a lot of fluid.
Okay.
It's something I learned early on.
Yeah.
Like I drink so much more than a lot of people. So yeah. Bought as many bottles as I can carry and a bladder. And then even sometimes
So you're rolling heavy.
oh man, I got to. I wish I didn't have to, but it's not good.
Yeah.
It's there's nothing worse than like,
Stay hydrated.
running out of fuel and knowing you still have miles left.
I saw him earlier. Toe socks, regular socks.
Toe socks.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. Regular socks. I tried to pair on the other day and it does not feel right. Like putting a mitten on your foot and your toes are touching each other. And it's like, oh, I don't know.
Can't have the toes touching. Favorite pro trail runners to follow?
I love following, Tyler Green, Courtney,
Yeah.
Camille,
Yeah.
just so impressed and motivated. Yazine, I love watching Yazine.
Yeah. Crushing it.
Yeah.
Love it. Bucket list race.
Well, I'd say Western States,
Yeah.
but after that, No Business 100. I've been looking at that.
Okay.
That may be next year. I don't know.
Awesome.
We'll see.
I love it. That's super fun. The name of the podcast, JP, is Trail Success. What does success on trails mean to you?
Giving it my all.
Okay.
Digging deep and giving it my best effort and whatever that is on that day.
Yeah.
Some days it may be just a slow walk. Some days it might be sprinting.
Yeah.
So just giving it the best I can.
Yeah. Love it. And how does trail running, how do ultras, how do they inspire you? And who do you think you might also be inspiring in the process? So how do they inspire you, and who do you think you might be inspiring?
Inspires me, the community, everybody, how everybody, is just so supportive and just wants everybody to do well.
Yeah.
We're all competing against each other, but we're not, we're all out there suffering together.
Yeah.
And I've met so many great friends, you and so many other people on the trails during races. And that's how I'm inspired, is through the people.
I love it. And who do you think is inspired by you?
I hope my kids,
Yeah.
and just, people that I know that see that, I put my mind to something, I sign up for something, I follow through, and I do it, whether or not it's sane or not.
I honor that example. I'm not sure how I would have received it as a kid. My dad did some distance stuff, but it took me a long time to kind of like appreciate that and feel like, oh, maybe I want to try that as well. So it'll be interesting to see how it cascades across our kids.
Yeah.
But I think whatever the pursuit is, doesn't have to be endurance athletics, right? But those principles you're talking about choosing something, being committed to it, seeing it through to the finish, universal principles I trust your kids are picking up from you.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be running, anything, something they're passionate about, give it your all. Dive in, do it.
Yeah.
And if it's something outside of your comfort zone, like, give it a shot,
I love it. Where can listeners and viewers find you online to follow what you're up to?
Strava. I mean, that's what I use the most. I have Instagram, but I'm not good at putting stuff on there. So Strava.
The social feed for athletes.
Yeah.
I enjoy watching your exploits.
Thank you.
Do you already know a bib number for Western States?
93.
93.
Yep. They have live tracking.
Okay. So my responsibility is to get this up in the next week so that people hear that and they can be tracking you.
Appreciate that.
Final words for listeners of the Trail Success Podcast that you'd like to share, or just leave a message with folks about who might be thinking, this is interesting. I'm inspired by what JP is doing. I might want to give it a try. What would be some words you might share with them?
I'd say do it.
Yeah.
Try it. Put yourself out there. Go run 3 miles, 4 miles, 5 miles. Get on a trail. Get out of nature. So many beautiful things in this area, this part of the country that we're in. Forest Park is just right there. The gorge is right there. It's all out there.
Yeah.
Just go find it.
Great advice. Great advice. Just go out and do it. Try it. Well, thank you, JP.
Yeah, thank you.
For letting me come visit your home to hear your story. Super inspiring. I love that you're 6 years deep into ultras and you're running Western States.
I know, it's crazy.
It's like an ultra unicorn, right, to get into Western States. And so I just love that that's been a goal for you for 5 years. You've accomplished it. You're going to go crush it and have an awesome experience being present. I love that you shared that as your goal for the day, to be present, to be great, have gratitude for the experience. And so know that you're inspiring me and a lot of others.
Thank you.
And have taken inspiration from our chat today. So a big thank you to you. And thanks for joining us on the Trail Success Podcast today. Again, so impressed by anyone who dedicates their life to anything that they find passion in, and endurance athletics is something that we've chosen.
Yeah.
And tried to maintain balance with work, family, relationships, and other activities. Not easily done, but it sounds like for you and certainly for me, a worthwhile effort that brings a lot of insight, strength, power, and learning from the process. So a big, shout out to anyone who's out there thinking about doing their first 5K, their first half marathon, their first 50K, and trying to qualify for Western States. Take some inspiration from JP, who's walked that path and done so successfully. Same invitation, get out there, try something that's challenging. My experience has been the power to accomplish it is already inside of you. And it takes just believing that it's there, like you said early on, JP, and going after it, and then watch it unfold, that it actually can be accomplished. So here's to you being inspired from our conversation today, and in the process of being inspired and going out and doing, inspiring others who watch what you do and accomplish amazing things in their lives as well. So thanks from the Trail Success Podcast. Thanks, JP, for being our guest today. Really appreciate it. And best of luck. Yeah, best of luck in Western States, but go for it.
Sir. I just want to thank my wife and kids. And, without their support, I wouldn't be able to do any of this stuff. Yeah. And, my friends, Bob, Paula, Brandon, Mark, everybody who supports me, I love it. I love all you guys. Thank you so much. Couldn't do it without you.
Perfect way to finish. Thanks, JP.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us.
Thank you.
Next time. Take care.
Good?
Awesome.
Cool.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're a rock star and a gentleman.